I've been sitting here for 5 minutes waiting for my washing machine to finish the spin cycle. It was very loud. It sounded like there was an airplane taking off from my basement, but it's done now, and it's done its little happy dance song that it does at the end. So now I can proceed. Hello, hi, my name is Melissa. I am Stitches Be Slippin' on Instagram. This is the Stitches Be Slippin' podcast. This is generally a knitting podcast. Sometimes crochet, sometimes other things, because I have ADHD and I get distracted very easily. As you will see in this episode, my brain has been ping-ponging all over the place for the last couple weeks, and I've been a little all over the map knitting wise. I'm going to do a little bit of a different format this episode. I was looking in my YouTube analytics or whatever, and it showed me that a lot of people watch for a little bit and then turn it off, and that's probably because I just talk about myself for a really long time and then talk about the knitting. So I'm going to talk about the knitting first, and then I'll talk about myself at the end. So if you love me and are invested in me and how my life is going, you will have to wait till the end to hear all my updates. And hopefully my brain won't explode from doing it this way, because I don't know, my life and my knitting are intertwined. So if I haven't told you about my life, then I feel like you can't understand my knitting, which is stupid. But yeah, like every project I've made, I remember what was happening in my life at that time, or what show I was watching that time or binging at that time or whatever, and I have like those mental associations with all of my knitting projects. So that's just how my brain works. But we're gonna try and go against the grain today and see how it goes. I have fluff in my mouth already, so that's a good start. Okay, so this is weird. I'm just gonna talk about knitting now. First I'm going to talk about some advent plans. As you can see back here, I received my Yarn Inc. Advent. Yarn Inc. is run by Alicia, and she is a local dyer. She lives just outside of Calgary in Okotoks, I believe. So all those white bags down there are all my 24 minis from Yarn Inc. It also came with a 100-gram full skein, and that is that one up there. And then all the little brown envelopes are my Ocean Loops Advent, which I got from Lolly. Last year, I have a bajillion stitch markers, but last year Lolly did an Advent, and then people were opening them and showing them, and I was just kicking myself for not having ordered it. So when she posted it this year, I ordered it. And I'm very happy that I did that. And I'm very excited to open everything every day. I have plans. I think I have narrowed it down. Thank you for anyone who suggested things to make with my Advent last episode. I have not taken any of your suggestions. Sorry, that's just what I do. I ask people for advice and then I'm like, fuck you, I'm doing my own thing. Sorry, if you're new here, I swear a lot, so if you don't like that, you might wanna. I'm also a very left-wing, liberal type view person, so if you don't like that, also, bye. Yeah, so I have narrowed it down. I'm 99% sure, although the other day I had 99% sure chosen a different pattern, and now I'm 99% sure on this pattern. So I still have, today is Monday, I have until, I guess probably just whatever I cast on Friday. Friday is December 1st, so I guess whatever I cast on Friday is what we're going with, so we'll see. The pattern I had decided on a few days ago was called the Brioche Adventure, and it's by Jonathan Tallow. I'll put a picture up here of his pattern sample in Ravelry. And it's a really, it's beautiful. It's 2-color brioche, and you change the 2 colors as you go across. It's kind of like a wrap shape. And it's, I don't know if he designed it for Advents, but it's perfect for Advents because it calls for minis like I think it's like a minimum of 14 or 15 minis, and then you can make it however big you want, I guess. So I really like that one. I might still do that with something else. But I think what I've decided on, and oh shoot, I didn't write down the name of the pattern. Where did it? It's over here. I do this every time. Like I go through my whole list and I'm like, I have that, I have that, I have that. And I still always have something I have to go get. So I'm pretty sure what I'm gonna do is, my boss, Shelly, if you're new here, I work at Polka Dot Creek Yarn in Airdrie. I am a yarn dyer, and my boss, Shelly, who runs Polka Dot Creek, last year when we did our Christmas countdown, she called it the Canadian Christmas Countdown Calendar, I think is what it was called. And she designed a pattern to go with it. So in case you got this, ordered this countdown, it was 24 20-gram minis. And so anyway, she designed this cowl. It's called the Christmas Countdown Cowl. And this is not the countdown yarn from last year. She had a sample done with like sort of like a rainbow gradient. And you can't really tell too much in here, but there's, I think there's 12 different sections with 12 different kind of texture patterns. And then there's a rest section in between with a little 1x1 color work. So I think this is going to be what I do. I tried on the sample. So with this pattern, you can either do 12 colors, and that will, it's like an infinity cowl. It's like a tube that you then wrap around your neck. And if you do 12, it's long, you just put it around once. And if you do 24, then, well, maybe you could probably, if, depending on your gauge, if it's big enough, you could wrap it around twice. Maybe it might be a little. But the 24, if you do like if you just do 2 repeats of the 12 sections, then you can have obviously 24. And we have samples of the 12 and of the 24 at work. And I tried on the 24 at work just this past week. And I could wrap it around 3 times, and it was just nice. And like, I don't generally wear cowls because I don't like things like hanging. I don't want it hanging out. Like if I'm wearing something around my neck, it's to keep my neck warm. So anyway, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think it will look really pretty because the yarn ink advent is a gradient, fade, whatever you want to call it. And then it comes with a full skein that I can do all those rest sections in. I'm not sure if I'll do the 1x1 color work in the rest sections because I think this fade goes from light to dark, and from what I can see through the tissue paper, the main skein is dark. So I don't know if you would be able to see those 1x1 color work in the rest sections, but I guess I could always use the lighter ones at the, anyway. Thinking out loud. So that is what I think I'm going to do with my yarn ink calendar. As I mentioned before, I did order a few other advents. I have my Ocean Loops stitch marker advent. I did get the option, there was an option when you ordered it to get the Notions ring with it. I can't remember if it's an actual bracelet or just like, it's just something that you can put all the stitch markers on. So I did get that too. My other advents that I ordered, I got the 21 stripe sock advent from the Wool Baron, who's Louise, and she absolutely knocked it out of the park. What was it called? Winter Solstice or Hibernal Solstice, I think it was called. And it's one of those ones where it's 21 stripes. It's a self-striping yarn. And the idea behind it is it's like an advent where you knit 1 stripe every day. And then once you get, hers is 21 stripes, not 24, but then I guess that maybe gives you a day to do the cuffs and or a day to do the toes or something. Anyway, it came, I don't know, between last episode and this episode. And I immediately was like, this is so beautiful. And kind of shit the bed a little bit and already knit it. Yeah, I made mittens. I used the Tin Can Knits World's Simplest Mittens pattern. It's free. It's an amazing mitten pattern. It goes from size tiny to size as big as you need it. It's a basic mitten pattern, but it's awesome. It goes really fast. Like, this is a fingering weight, and I think I made both my mittens in like a day or a day and a half. Really helps when it's self-striping yarn because you like want to see what the next color is. Yeah, and I love them. So I can't show them, obviously, because it's an Advent yarn and it's not even December 1st yet. So people, normal high-functioning people probably haven't started knitting theirs yet, so I won't show it. I couldn't help myself, and I took a picture and turned it to black and white and posted that on my Instagram stories. It's not there anymore because that was a few days ago. But yeah, if you got the Wool Baron 21 stripe sock Advent, you will be very happy with it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I got the sparkle base because whenever I'm given the choice, I always choose sparkle. So yeah, I will hopefully show those after the Advent is done. I also have the Cozy Knitter, sort of same, I think hers is 24 stripes, same idea, you knit one stripe every day. I got that one. I think I probably will knit socks with that one. My plan is to just do some vanilla socks, but the other woman who dyes yarn at work with me, my friend Krista, she has a vanilla recipe that she uses when she calls them her Costco socks. She always has a little project bag with socks in them for when she's at Costco, and she's like, has gotten all of her Costco groceries, and she then goes and orders a pizza to take home for dessert, for dinner. And then when she's standing there waiting for her pizza to cook, she knits her socks. Anyway, anyway, she has a recipe for like vanilla-ish socks. And so I'm going to do that. I'll show you, hopefully, if I have been working on them. Hopefully I'll show you next time what that looks like. And yeah, I think those are all my Advent plans. The big one is the Yarn Ink 24-day. That's going to be my cowl that Shelly designed. As always, I will put links down below for patterns, designers, yarn makers, everybody that I talk about. So I will link Shelly's cowl pattern down below. And yeah, so speaking of Advents, I was digging around in my bin o minis recently because I was looking for some green minis, and I will tell you why shortly. But I came across another Advent that I had ordered, not from this year. This was from last year. This was also a Yarn Ink order, or Yarn Ink Advent, but it was a New Year's Advent. It was 10 20-gram minis, and then it came with a full skein to open on New Year's Day. And I can't remember what it was. I can't remember if it was Countdown to New Year's or... Anyway, it was the subject, the theme basically was, thank God this year's fucking over, and like, let's start a brand new, fresh year. It was her line of yarn called the Offensive Crew. If you've been following Yarn Ink, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It is a lot of really like bright colors and neon speckles, and it's really, really fun. So it's 10 of her Offensive Crew colors. Every colorway name has the word fuck in it. So I'm going to show you, and I don't know what to do with it. I've had it for a year and I keep looking at it and admiring it, and I don't know how to put them all together. And I know one of you out there would make something amazing with it. And so I am going to give it away. So I'm going to show them. And if you would like to win this 10-day Yarn Ink Offensive Crew Advent, please comment below. make sure you're subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the like button and all that jazz. And then comment below, maybe tell me, I don't know, what you think you might do with it, or if you just want to have it so you can admire it because it's so pretty, like I've been doing for the last year. Or just say something nice about me. That's, I mean, always welcome. I'm a bit needy when it comes to that. I like it when people tell me nice things about myself. Okay, so some of them I've lost the tag with the colorway, but they're all here. So here is, this is called What the Fuck. And like, what the fuck, look at that color. Ah. This one is called Fuck Me. Yeah. This one doesn't have a tag. This one is called Fuck Yeah. And this one also doesn't have a tag, but fuck yeah. This one is called Fuck Sakes. I'm getting all my F-bombs in today. I didn't have very many last time, and so I'm making up for it today. This one also doesn't have a tag. This one is called Fuck It. Very fun. This one is called Fuck No. And this one is called Fuck Outta Here. This one seems a little bit lighter. I did start making something with this and then I didn't like it and I ripped it out. So I don't know if this one might have just a few yards less or something, but those are the 10 colors. So comment below if you would like to win a 10 mini skeins. They're fingering weight skeins, 20 grams. I think they're like 90 yards-ish each. So yeah, let me know down below if you would like to win that. I will choose a comment down below, like do a random comment generator type deal. And I will announce the winner on my next episode. I will put, on my next episode, I'll put a little title down here with the username of the person who has won and ask you to contact me via email. I won't put anything in the YouTube comments down below. So if someone contacts you saying in the YouTube comments saying that you've won, don't give them your information. I will announce it on my next episode. Okay, so moving on. What I'm wearing today, I actually finished my Clove sweater that I think had been on the previous at least 2 episodes. So this is her. She's done. And remember when I was showing it to you and it looked like the stripes were gonna look like this on the sleeves? They don't. Isn't that great? I was a little worried about it, but then I tried it on and it was okay. So this is the Clove sweater by Kurihara. This is my second one that I've made and will not be the last. So obviously this is the side where I was changing colors because there's a jog, but it is not a striped pattern. I added in the stripes and everything else is pretty much to pattern. There's a split hem. I make the back a little bit longer just because that's how I like it. But everything else was pretty much to pattern besides the stripes. There's a drop shoulder. And it's kind of cool how it, like, I picked up the stitches there with the blue. So it looks like you almost can't even tell that it's a drop shoulder just because of the way the stripes look. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, so I used the Sonder Yarn Company. I used their Sunday Morning DK yarn for that. This is a non-superwash yarn. It is Sunday Morning DK, 75% BFL and 25% Mashup. This is the color Cover to Cover. That's a pretty good representation. It's a very beautiful, like, dark navy blue. I know from when I'm sitting back here, it looks black almost, but it's blue. And this is the main color, and it's called Flat White. So those are what I use for those. I really like this yarn. I think I mentioned it before. It's very light. Like it's not, it's a DK weight sweater, but it feels like a fingering weight sweater because it's very light. I don't know if it's a woolen spun yarn, but lots of woolen spun yarns are lighter and airier, and I really like wearing it because it's, I don't like a heavy, like it feels like it's hanging on me. So I highly recommend, fun to work with. Just the way that I knit, that my stitches look a little mangly and it doesn't look that great before I block it, but then I block it and it looks like this. So it's a win-win. Okay, so I finished that. I have had some my knitting juju has been off since I finished my Stephen West MCal, my Geo Gradient, and then I finished this. And then I was just like drifting in a sea of inability to make a decision, which if you have ADHD, you know what I'm talking about. Like analysis paralysis, like I've got all this yarn and I've got all these patterns I want to make and I couldn't decide what to make. And I was like, well, just make some little things, and I would cast on a little thing and I'd be like, I don't like this, and I'd rip it out, and then I'd cast on something else little and like, I don't like this, and I rip it out, and it's been that pretty much on repeat for the last 2 weeks-ish. I have finished a couple things. A lot of the things that I finished I can't show you because it's also gift knitting season. So, and pretty much everyone that I'm actually gift knitting for this year watch my podcast, so I can't show you those. I've decided not to do gift knitting for all of the family this year. I usually knit something for all of my nibblings. If you don't know what nibbling is a gender neutral term for nieces and nephews. So my nibblings aren't getting anything knitted this year. I usually make all of them something. I have 5 nibblings. And I decided not to do that this year because usually, I mean, they're always like, oh yeah, thank you. And then I never see them ever again. So I just, I think they like them and enjoy them and like maybe wear them a few times, and that's totally fine. I don't want to be forcing my love of knitting onto other people. So I've just decided there are a few people that are very knit worthy and I know love everything and that I make and wear everything that I make them and use everything that I make them. So those few people will be getting some gift knits. And yeah, I do have a couple of little things that I can show you for FOs. I had a hoe last, I think it was a hoe. I think I had already started the second one, but I finished my Selena socks. And these are a pattern by my lovely friend Nicole, who is Prof Purl on Instagram. She is Professor Purl on YouTube. She has a wonderful podcast. I highly recommend you go watch if you love knitting and you love just like calm, joyful people. That's how I would describe Nicole, as a calm and joyful person. And I love watching her. So this is her sock pattern. It is called Selena socks, and I will put the link down below to the pattern. It's spelled differently, Celaena, I believe is how it is spelled. It is not a shorty pattern. I just made them shorties because that's what I tend to wear in knitted socks. I actually did a heel flapping gusset, like who am I? But I used fingering weight and mohair held together because that is the love of my knitting life, is fingering and mohair held together. It is a DK weight pattern, so you can use DK weight or you can use a fingering and mohair held together, or fingering and Surrey or something. They're just beautiful. I love them. They're so cozy and they knit up so fast because it's like a DK weight, so it's less stitches, and I really enjoyed making those. I still haven't blocked them because I don't usually block socks. I don't make socks very often. I just block them by wearing them. And yeah, these ones I'm going to have to hand wash, obviously, because they're mohair, so I can't wash them in the washing machine. I usually use superwash yarn for socks for that reason, so I can just throw them in the washing machine because I'm not I don't wash my knits very often. My sweaters get washed and blocked when I finish them, and then I don't know if I've ever washed and re-washed any of my knitted sweaters. I'm not I don't sweat. I don't generally get smelly, so. And wool is magic. It just kind of self-cleans itself. That's what I'm going with anyway. Yeah, so those were my Selena socks. I used, when I was at the Beehive Wool Shop in Victoria this summer, I bought like, I don't know how you call it. It's like a bundle. So it was one skein of fingering weight yarn and one skein of mohair bundled together as a set. And it was by Fleece Artist and handmade in yarn. I'll put links down below. And so that's what I used for those in the color rose gold. That is what I did. My only other FO that I can show you is a very quick test knit that I did this week. And by quick, I mean it took me like 10-15 minutes max. Well, actually, it might have taken me 20 minutes because the first time I did it, I read the instructions wrong and did it wrong. And then I had to do it again. But it only took 10 minutes to make. So my friend Karina, who is Knitty Pie on Instagram, she has been making these, I think, for years, and finally just wrote up the pattern this year and asked a few of us. She used to be in our knit night that I go to, and then she moved recently. So anyway, she messaged us on our Instagram message group and asked if we would test knit it for her. Anyway, it's a tiny little Christmas tree. Isn't it cute? It is meant, I'll put a picture up here of her pattern. It is meant to sit on a wine cork. So for all of you out there who have like giant bowls or jars of wine corks out there, this one's for you. We don't have any wine corks in our house. I don't drink, I don't drink at all. I don't drink anything, and that's not like a moral reason, or I'm not a recovering alcoholic or anything like that. I just don't like alcohol, basically. So I don't drink, and my husband mostly 99% of the time just drinks beer. He'll have wine like if we're out for dinner and someone opens a bottle of wine, or if we're like at a seated dinner where they have wine on the table, then he'll have wine, but he won't like open a bottle of wine at home. And anyway, so we don't have any wine corks. So you just have to settle with this on my finger, and you're welcome for not putting it on my middle finger, because that's what I did when I showed him. It's really cute though. It's just 2 strands of fingering weight held together, or 1 strand of worsted weight. And it's super easy. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. And what is it called? It's called Wine Cork Trees by Karina Irvine. And I will put a link down below. It's a free pattern. It's like I said, super, super quick. I used 2 strands of fingering weight yarn. This was just 2 strands of the same colorway, but there are like endless opportunities here. Like I have some Christmassy minis here. These were from Polka Dot Creek. I have another. Like I was going through all my minis. This is when I found my Offensive Crew Advent. I was going through all my minis. Like you could make some red ones. You could hold 2 different green ones together. You could hold a green one and a red one together. There's so many options. I was like, these 2 would be fun together. Like there's so many options. I have this giant pile here I have some sparkle. That one has sparkle in it. Anyway, I have this giant pile of minis that I pulled out. I think everyone, maybe this will be my gift knit for everyone this year, is making them a tiny little Christmas tree. We'll see. I come up with a lot of plans, and then off they go, and then I do something else. Welcome to my brain. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay. That is my only other FO that I can show you. I have my Wool Baron mittens that I can't show you. And I have another FO that is a gift knit that I can't show you. I have another whip that is a gift knit that I can't show you. I was like, should I even podcast this time? Because everything I'm knitting everything I've been knitting I can't show, but I do have a few. I have two whips that I can show you, and I have some abandoned whips that I can show you, which should be entertaining, maybe. Okay, so my last podcast, one of my viewers commented, I can't remember what she said, and now I'm blanking. Oh, I'm such a bad person. I remember her, the name of her podcast name is Hey Mom. And it's a lovely podcast. Anyway, she commented on my last episode and said something very nice. And then she said she was going to record a podcast of her own. So I immediately went over to find her podcast. It's called Hey Mom Podcast. It's lovely. It's a tribute to her mom, who she lost recently. And it's sort of like a way for her to talk to her mom, because I think she talked to her mom a lot about making, and I think they had that in common. I've only watched the last 2 episodes of hers. I still have to watch the rest of them. But it's lovely, so you should go check that out. I'm so sorry, I can't remember. I'm so bad at remembering people's names. I can see your face clear as day, and I know the name of your podcast. And so, sorry for that. Anyway. In one of her episodes that I watched, she showed her pressed flowers cardigan that she had recently completed. And like, I've seen the pressed flowers cardigan, I've seen the pressed flowers pullover, I've seen the pressed flowers shawl. I apparently can't see pressed flowers. I had some spin cycle that I purchased, I'm American now, that I bought in Chicago, and I was going to make the pressed flowers shawl with that. And I thought, ooh, like after I saw her cardigan, I immediately wanted to make a cardigan. Just, it looked really like, it looked amazing on her. It fit her so well, and like exactly the way I want a cardigan to fit. So anyway, I went into my stash and I pulled out my spin cycle that I had. This is the Dream State, which is the heavier one. They call it worsted. It's not worsted. It's like more like DK. So I had 3 skeins of this. The color is called Water Witch. I had 3 skeins of this, and I also had a gift card from Stash Lounge, which is an amazing yarn store in Calgary, and that gift card was burning a hole in my pocket, and I needed a main color. Where are the other skeins of this? I had them here somewhere. Anyway, I'll just show you the one that's all wound up. So I went to Stash and I got this. I'm so consistent, it's ridiculous. This is Barocco Lanas Light, and it's, I think, what is it called? Oh my God, what is wrong with me? I'm usually better at that. Oh, here we go. Barocco Lanas Light. It's 100% wool, and it is, I don't think it's superwash because it just says 100% wool. It says a special blend of South American wools, and the color is called Steel Cut Oats. So basically I just copied the Hey Mom podcast because that's the color that she used, and she also used a spin cycle. Hers was more like reds and in the red family, and it looked absolutely beautiful. I am not a reds kind of person, but I really, really like hers. Anyway, I already had this in my stash, so I was like, this would be very beautiful. This is definitely in my color wheelhouse. So I started it up and I made it almost through an entire skein of this, and I'll put a picture up here. I just wasn't happy with the contrast. So you'll see, like at the top, I made it almost up to separating for sleeves, and there was just too much really, really light green and light, like there's some sections that are, oh, I put the other ones away. It was just not enough contrast, and I had 3 skeins of that, and it was going to be all, there wasn't as much pink in it as I wanted, and I just, it wasn't floating my boat. So I ripped it out, and when I was at Stash buying the Barocco for the main color, I also found, I actually had forgotten that I had this in my stash. And I had 3 skeins. They just got Spin Cycle. They were, the stock was very low because we're like a Spin Cycle desert. Calgary is, like, there's no shops in Calgary that carry Spin Cycle. So when Stash got it, everyone got very excited. So by the time I got in there wasn't much left. But I had three colors, 3 skeins in my hand, and was thinking about those. And I was walking around, and then I found this. And this is 200 grams, I think. Now I have to find the... Oh, shit. I do not have my shit together today. Where is it? Ha! Found it. It is called Fibra Natura Cobblestone. It's 100% superwash. And it is like that sort of, it's not hand spun, but it gives, and neither is Spin Cycle, for the record. It's not hand spun. A lot of patterns recommend hand spun, i.e. Spin Cycle. Spin Cycle is not hand spun, it's machine spun. It is, yes, I've seen all the, like, I appreciate Spin Cycle, but anyway, that was off on a tangent. So this is like that same type of look where it's sort of barber pulled with 2 colors spun together. Anyway, this is a big ball, 200 grams, 612 yards. It's just like a sport weight. And so I found this, and then I was like, okay, well, this is a $50, and I would only need 1 of these. And every skein of Spin Cycle I had in my hand was $50, and I was like, $150 or $50? So I put the other Spin Cycle skeins back, and I got this. And then when I got home, I remembered I had this, so I cast on with this. And then I ripped it out, and then I was like, well, I'm glad I bought this because now I'm gonna make it with this. So that was a very long story. And so I have restarted it with that color. And this is how it is going. I haven't gotten as much done on it. If I had started with this color, this probably would have been done by now, but since I started out with the Spin Cycle, and then I got all pissed off that it wasn't working very well, and then I ripped it out, and then I started this, and then I was like, I'm kind of tired of this. And so this is how it's going. It's definitely, like I said, I'm consistent. It's beige and it's blushy pink, and this is just how I operate. At work the other day, this is a bit of a tangent, but we were at work the other day and we were deciding what we were gonna dye that day, and Shelly was just joking around and she's like, well, dye whatever you want. And I was like, neons, neons, neons. And my friend Candace, who I work with, was like, but you never knit with neons. And I was like, oh, like, I took that very personally. I was like, I love neons, how dare you? But she's absolutely right. Like, I love neons. I buy neon yarn all the time. I only ever knit with beige and blushy pink. Like, so thank you, Candace, for the, I don't know what you want to call it, reality check, because absolutely right. I absolutely love neons. They're my absolute favorite. But this is what I knit with. I actually went home that night and I was like, fuck you, Candace. I'm going to cast on something neon. And I did. I cast on something with some like neon something that I had. And then I was like, I think I'm going to go knit with this instead. So anyway, this is my Pressed Flowers cardigan. I didn't mention it's Amy Christoffers, who is the designer. I will put a link to the pattern down below. So this one's, the pattern is really fun, actually. It's mosaic, so it's slip stitching. You're only ever working with 1 color per row, but sometimes there's slip stitching. I did notice, I took a picture of it at some point and posted it on my Instagram stories. Where is it? Here it is. And this was like right in the middle of my stories. So this is what the flowers are supposed to look like. And then this one I noticed, I don't know if it's dark enough behind there if you can see. It's hard to hold up. I did my center of my flower on the wrong side on that one. See, it's supposed to be in the middle of those stitches. And this one, it's over here. So this is, I'm absolutely not going to rip it out because that's not who I am. And if I ripped that out, if I ripped that back to redo that one, I would just rip out the whole thing and be like, fuck it, I'm not making it. So I do want to make this. I do want to wear this. So I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to call it that's my Amish feature of this project. My mom is a quilter, has been a quilter for decades. And one of the things that she's mentioned to me is that when the Amish make quilts, they make beautiful, beautiful quilts. A lot of like sort of stained glass type quilts, but they always put in something, a mistake of some sort, because they can't make something that's perfect. Only God can make something that's perfect or something. So they always put in a mistake. So whenever I make a mistake, I'm like, well, this is the Amish portion of my project. And then I move on. This is living in my, I love this bag. It is by Wild Strands. Wild Strands handcrafted. I don't know if you can see that. I'll put a link down below. Sometimes she has stuff in a shop and sometimes she doesn't. So we'll see. And yeah, I've been using my Knit Companion app on my iPad to follow this. Oh, I can't show you. I can't show you the chart. Ooh. Anyway, it's very, I talked last time about how I started using the Knit Companion app, and it's so awesome for following charts because it has like the highlighter that you can move and it just highlights your line on your chart, and it's awesome. Okay, so that's one of my whips that I'm working on. I have another whip that is a gift knit that I can't show you, and then I cast on, where is it? Here it is. I cast on, I've been wanting to make a muscle bra. That's how my son would say it. I wanted to make one for a long time. I tried making one once. I've tried them a few times. I think I've talked about this before. I've never found the right needle cable combination to make it. I find on a 16-inch circular, the stitches are too spread out and it drives me crazy. And I've tried on the ChowGoo 12-inch circulars, but the 12-inch circulars are the ones that, so instead of like this straight join, on the 12-inch circulars, the metal part has like a bend in it that's like this, and it drives me crazy. I just can't knit with them. So I was like, I'm not gonna magic loop an entire skein of yarn. Well, I might. I've gotten much more friendly with magic loop lately. With all of the gift knitting that I've been done has been all on magic loop. So it's not annoying me nearly as much as it used to. So that is still a possibility because I can whip through it pretty fast on magic loop. But my last resort that I am now trying is 2 16-inch circulars, which is basically the same as magic loop, but then you don't have the big cable sticking out the other end. So I wanted something vanilla-y to work on this past weekend. You don't get to know what I was doing this past weekend unless you stay to the end and listen to my personal section. So anyway, I cast on a muscle bra. This is, my yarn is, I don't have the tag, but this is Polka Dot Creek yarn. This was our Pink Friday special skeins last year that we did. So if you purchased a certain amount of yarn, then you got a free skein of yarn or a free sock set or whatever, depending on how much you spent. This is the color of the free yarn that you got. It is absolutely gorgeous. And of course I like it because it's beigey, blushy pink. So yeah. We were not allowed to buy it, us employees. Usually we dye stuff and then we're all like, ooh, that's pretty, I want to buy it. And then she lets us buy it. But for Pink Friday, for these ones, she didn't let us buy them because she wanted to have enough of them. And then even after Pink Friday was over, she didn't let us buy them. And then Shelly gave me a sock set for Christmas, or no, for my birthday this year. So it was a full skein of fingering weight. And then the 2 minis that came with it were Antique Mauve and Chestnut, which I've showed on here before because those are the colors I used in my MCAL. So this is, so I cast it on and did all the increases on Magic Loop. I didn't do there's like a, I don't know, some special thing that you can do to start the fancy, my brain is blanking, but I just cast on, you're supposed to start with a certain number, a very small number of stitches, and then you increase out. So I just cast on that number of stitches on Magic Loop and increased out, and then I'll just sew it together when it's done, because what is it called? It's like the Magic Circle crochet, but for knitting. Anyway, so this is how far I've done. I finished all the increases, and now I have switched to the 16-inch circulars, and it's actually going fairly well. So though, like, I don't mind it. I kind of thought it would be a lot fiddlier than it is, and I don't mind it so far. So I've only gotten about this far since the increases. I took it to my son's hockey game last night, but didn't get a lot done. But you don't get to know why unless you tune into my personal update at the end. Now I'm just like blackmailing people into listening to me talk about myself. So anyway, that was my, oh, and I forgot to say, this here is an Ocean Loops stitch marker. I have about 1,000 of them, and I've got 24 more of them over there that I'm going to open. But this is like a closed stitch marker, so I just put it on a light bulb, but I thought it looked pretty with my yarn. These are my Christmas nails. They're red and sparkly. You don't get to know why I have Christmas sparkly nails, and I'll stop. This project is living in a bag that I bought from 2 Sticks and You. This is a Tula Pink fabric that I love. And 2 Sticks and You was the mom of Leslie, who is the LB Tree on Instagram. She's a project bag maker, lots of other things. Leslie's mom, who made this bag, was very sick recently, and they had a sale going on to just to raise money. She had a lot of treatments and things like that, and unfortunately Leslie's mom passed away just last week or the week before, which is super, super sad. So now I will treasure this even more because I know she made it, and she was very, very, very special to Leslie, and I think to a lot of people who had met her. So I don't think Leslie watches this, but if she does watch this, I'm so sorry, Leslie, for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through. What else have I got? Those are my only whips I can show you that I'm actively working on. What else was I gonna, oh yeah, I was gonna show you some of my abandoned whips just to show you the inside of my brain a little bit. When I was looking for something easy to do, this inspiration also came from the Hey Mom podcast. I really wish I could remember your name right now. And it's like not a hard name, I don't think, but it's just like, you know, I don't know, maybe regular neurotypical people are not like this, but when you have ADHD and you're trying to remember something, it's like there's a vault wall, and you need like Ocean's 11 guys to come in and like do an elaborate heist to try and get into that vault wall to get what you're looking for. So there's absolutely no chance I'm going to remember your name this time, but I will make sure to try and remember it next time. I'm sorry. I'm just going to call you Hey Mom from now on. That's so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. Okay. I was looking for little things to make. I was looking for like vanilla-y things that I could knit on the go. And the Hey Mom podcast had just showed she had made some Oslo hats. Oslo hat is by Petite Knit, and it's a DK weight toque hat pattern that you like knit a certain number of inches, then you fold it over and attach it and then knit up to the top. So I had this special skein of yarn. My husband bought me this special skein of yarn for our anniversary. Our anniversary, it was like, you know, the traditional gifts. So it was like silk and linen, I think were the two. Anyway, so this yarn is from Fantasy Fibers, and it's merino, silk, and yak. So it is incredibly soft. And this is what the wrapper looks like right now, because we were dog sitting my mother-in-law's dog for a few weeks, and she came into my knitting room and I had this yarn sitting out there. I was about to wind it, and she took it and she chewed up the label, which she's still alive because she didn't chew the yarn. So that's the reason she was able to live through that episode. But my husband really, it's not particularly a color that I would have chosen, but my husband really liked it. So I was like, well, I'll make him something with it. And so I started an Oslo hat. I didn't think I was going to have enough yarn to make the whole thing, like the double brim, the whole thing with that yarn. So I started off with just some other DK tweed that I had in my stash and just knit up to as far as I thought I would need it. And then like when you attach, you like fold it, so that would be the inside of the brim that you wouldn't see. So you would fold up, and then this would be like going up. So yeah, so I knit on that for a while and then got bored. And then I needed those needles for something else. So that's why there's no needles on here. You can see there's just live stitches hanging out there. It's been ruthless. Like I've been working on things and then I'm like, I need those needles for something else. So I just rip them out and go do something else. And it's, anyway, this is in my emotional support yarn from Creek Gardens Crafts. I've talked about that before. And what else was I going to show you that I abandoned? Well, not really abandoned. This is kind of like maybe hibernating or something. This is in a Fringe Supply Co. bag that Shelly gave me for my birthday. It's awesome. You can't buy Fringe Supply Company bags anymore, unfortunately. This also has some ocean loops. This has my, I have a little Notions ring with stitch markers on it from Ocean Loops. Oh, Lolly, you're just so talented. Okay, so last episode I mentioned that I had been watching the Knitty Stew podcast, which is Leanne, and she had just finished making a fleur shawl by Espace Tricot in a natural and a Surrey from Crux Fibers. And I just want to be like Leanne, and I want to have a shawl like Leanne. And so I had a natural color that I wanted to use, and so I ordered some Surrey from Crux Fibers. And this is the Surrey from Crux Fibers. And I got, I think, all the skeins that she had left because I didn't know exactly how many I would need. So I think I got 3. I got 3. The color is called Provence. I think that's pretty good. And it is 75% brushed baby Surrey alpaca and 25% mulberry silk. So Crux Fibers is a lovely, beautiful dyer in White Horse, and she does a lot of Canadian wool, a lot of locally sourced low mileage wool, I think is what she calls it. So I'm using that, and I'm holding it together with this squishy, unbelievably soft goodness. This is alpaca, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's fingering weight, maybe sport weight. My friend Karina, who designed those little Christmas trees, when she was moving, she destashed, and she had 2 skeins of this that she was destashing, and I instantly snatched it up. It is, I'm pretty sure it's 100% alpaca. Like, it's so unbelievably soft and squishy. I was using this here's another side rant, not rant, just going off on a tangent. My granny square cardigan that I've showed a few times before, that my lovely friend Sheila redid for me because I couldn't achieve it. I was going to use this. I actually was using this to pick up. I have to pick up the stitches for the hem and the collar and the cuffs. And I was using this, I was holding it double, and it was still fairly thin for a DK. So I'm pretty sure this is a fingering weight. Anyway, I was using this, and then it didn't look right. The color didn't look right. It was too white. So I ripped it out, and then I still had this to use. So that's what I'm using. It's a long story to tell you. That's what I'm using as my natural color. And so I cast on, and this is how it's going so far. It is more colorful. It's coming off like, it's giving me sort of Halloween-y vibes with like the kind of pukey green. And I say pukey green in a very affectionate way. Like, I think pukey green is pretty. It's got some little pukey green and some like purple and stuff in there. It's, I'm not sure if it's exactly what I was picturing. There's not as much, what would you call it? There's a fancy word for it, like negative space or something like that. But there's not as much like just white sections as I thought. It's more colorful, but it's still beautiful. So yeah. And then I needed the needles for something else. So I ripped the needles out. This is also an Ocean Loops. This is a Progress Keeper. It opens. It's a little pink and it has a little star. And yeah, so I do plan on getting back to this. Like, this is not like I will be able to put those stitches back on the needle at any time. I was just, like I said, my brain has been just a big old ping pong lately. So anyway, those are all the things I think that I had to show. I think those are all the things I had to show. So if you're just using me for knitting, then you can sign off now. I'm gonna now blabber about my own personal life. I'm almost an hour, so I'm gonna try not to blabber about it for too long because that's ridiculous. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you comment below if you want to win my Yarn Inc. Offensive Crew Advent from last year. And yeah, so what has been happening in my personal life lately? My youngest son turned 9. Is that makeup or a shadow? Anyway, I think it was hair. My youngest son turned 9, so he had his birthday party. He went go-karting. He was allowed, it's very expensive. I was like, he's wanted to go go-karting for a long time. And he's on the littler end for his age. So he was finally tall enough to go go-karting. So we looked it up and we were like, this is ridiculously expensive. We usually like book a party and he can have 10 people, including him and his brother. So he can invite some kids from school and he can invite his cousins and whatever. And this one, we were like, it's going to be you and your brother, and you can invite 2 friends. Anyway, he had a great time. He had so much fun. I can put a picture up here of him in his go-kart because you can't see what he looks like in there. He had an absolute blast. So that was good. And what else? I went to the Prairie Spirit fundraiser, Prairie Spirit Alpacas. I talked about them in the last few episodes. They had a really, really bad fire on their farm and their barn burned down. They lost some animals. They lost a lot. And so some local ladies in the knitting community hosted a fundraiser to raise money for them to rebuild their barn. That was very fun. And they had a silent auction, and I won some silent auction items. I was like totally channeling my husband. He loves a silent. He's never met a silent auction he doesn't love. And he bids on everything, and then he wins a lot of stuff because he bids on too many things, and then he ends up winning them. But sometimes I benefit from it because sometimes we go to a gala or something like that where they have silent auctions, And in order to make it worth my time, then he bids on stuff for me. So I got these earrings in a silent auction. They're really pretty. They have like little, I don't know if they're actual diamonds, but hopefully what we paid for them. Yeah. Anyway, I was bidding on some silent auction items. I won some silent auction items. I haven't seen, I don't know if they've posted yet how much money they raised, but there were lots of people there and there were lots of silent auction items. So I'm assuming that they raised a decent amount of money. So that's good. What did I win? I won 4 skeins of this. It's called Queensland Collection Kathmandu DK. It's merino silk and cashmere. And it's like, I mean, it's gray yarn, but it's a DK yarn and it's very soft because it has cashmere in it. And I won 4 skeins of it. I won 4 skeins of it. I love silent auction. Like, they make you feel like you won something and then you have to pay an extravagant amount of money for it. But it was going to a good cause. We're trying to help rebuild those poor little alpacas farms. So the barn, we're rebuilding the barn. So I looked at these and I felt them and I thought those would make an excellent clove sweater. So that's my plan. I'm going to make another clove with those. And I also won I can show you a little bit. I'm making something with this. I've already wound it up and making it, but it's a gift, so I can't show you what I'm making, but I can show you at least the colors. I won a sock set from Brian Dye Works. She is also a local dyer here in Calgary. And it's a sock set. It is 80% eco-processed organic merino wool and 20% global standard recycled nylon. So eco-friendly yarn. It's 115 grams of the main color, and then it came with 2 25-gram minis. So this is the main color. It is called Lake Ice. Lake Ice. It's like a tonal, it's beautiful. And then this is one of the minis. Some lights it looks red, some lights it looks really bright pink. No matter what the light, they look amazing together. The colorway is called cerise, which is like the French word for cherry. And then there was also a blue mini with it called Iris. And I don't have it in here. I don't know what I did with that. I might have I actually think I threw it in my bin of minis. But I am making something with that, but I cannot show you. And also in that, it was a bag. I think it was Little Bow Fiber Company, who I've talked about before, is very close to my house. And it's an adorable little yarn store that has amazing stuff in it. So this bundle that I won was the sock set from Brian Dye Works, and then this little bag of goodies from Little Bow Fiber Company. So it was these LDH scissors, which are amazing, amazing scissors. They're very sharp and they're very pretty. And they have this cool, they're very sharp. So they have this like felt protector case. Came with a little thing of soak, and it came with some 2.25 millimeter tips, and then a 22-inch cable to go with those tips. And that is what I got in that package. And I have interchangeable needles, and I have those scissors. I've actually bought those scissors from Little Bow Fiber Company before. So I'm going to include this bag, those scissors, and those needles in with my Yarn Inc. Offensive Crew giveaway. So you're going to get 10 mini skeins of 10 20-gram mini skeins from Yarn Inc. and scissors and needles from Little Bow Fiber Company. So those will be included in the giveaway. So make sure you enter the giveaway and comment below and share me on YouTube again. Oh my God, that was so much fun last time when you guys were like taking screenshots and putting, did I say share me on YouTube? On Instagram. When you're putting my screenshot on Instagram when you guys were like knitting and watching me. I love that. It was so awesome. Yes, and the Prairie Spirit fundraiser, they had door prizes. They had lots of door prizes. And the lovely ladies that I was sitting with won a number of door prizes, and I kept like looking at this one and admiring it. And she was like, you can just have that one. Because she had like, I don't know, 2 or 3 other raffle prizes plus like silent auction items that she had won. So this was in the door prize that she had won that she gave me. So thank you. Again, I know the Instagram username. I know it. I think it was Jen. Anyway, thank you so much. You were so kind. It was so nice to sit and visit with you. This was in the raffle or the door prize that she won. So this is a skein of flock fiber DK. Shit. Sorry. Fireside DK 100% superwash. So this is a skein of beautiful gray DK. And this is called Good Vibrations Fiber Arts. It says it's from St. John, New Brunswick. And this is a DK merino and bamboo. And it's like really pretty. And then it came with a little pom-pom. So I can do something with that for sure. Like a low contrast color work toque or something. So anyway, thank you. I was like, that's really nice. I really like that one. Ooh, this is so soft. It's really nice. And she's finally like, okay, you can have it. I'm really good at making people uncomfortable and just forcing them to give me stuff. What else? Oh yeah. This past weekend, my husband and I went to Banff, which is, if you're not familiar with Banff, I live in Calgary. I didn't say that yet. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we are just like an hour away from the Rocky Mountains. And Banff is a world-renowned like tourist destination. It's in the mountains. There's lots of ski hills around there, and it's just absolutely beautiful, especially in the winter when there's snow covering the trees. And so anyway, my husband has his company Christmas party there every year. And the hotel that we stay at every year is, it's basically like a castle nestled in the mountains. We're surrounded by mountains. And we got really lucky with our room this year. Like we usually just get a tiny little, just basic hotel room. And for some reason, they gave us a complimentary upgrade this year and we got a seriously amazing room. It even had like a little balcony, like not that you would go sit out on the balcony. It was like -10 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, sorry. So I went out on the balcony and I'll put it here. This is a video of the basically 300, I couldn't video the entire 360 because the building was behind me, but the mountains surrounding the hotel that we were staying in. It was unbelievable. The views were absolutely incredible. So yeah, we really enjoyed that. It was very nice because we got 2 nights away without the boys. I think it's been, I mean, I don't count, we do go every year on a trip for his work with the management team that he's part of. And I don't like, that is a trip away from the kids, but that's also like pretty much the entire time of those trips were spent with like his coworkers and all that, and it's not a lot of relaxing, like just us spending time together. So this was amazing because we got to 2 nights away, staying in this unbelievably beautiful hotel room with this incredible view, and we just like, we hung out and I knitted like almost all day on Saturday until it was time for the party. No, that's not true. We went to the spa. We both got a massage. There's a beautiful spa at this hotel. And the spa, we both got a massage, and then they have like a set of pools. There's a big like warm pool, and then there's a series of hot tubs, and then you can go outside and there's a hot tub and you're just surrounded by mountains, and it's just like, it's magical. I don't use the word magical very often, but it really is. Yeah, so if you have a chance to go to Banff, go to Banff. It's beautiful. yeah, so that was wonderful. We went to his Christmas party. That was fun, good. I mean, standard. We've been going to this Christmas party at this hotel for, this is my husband's 18th year working at this company, and we've been together for, I don't know, that would require math, like 12, 13, 14 years? I don't know. Anyway, we've been together a long time. We've been going to this Christmas party for a long time, and I look forward to it every year. We didn't get to go last year because every year the Christmas party is on the same weekend as the weekend that our kids always have hockey tournaments. And last year, both kids were playing hockey. Both kids had hockey tournaments. One was in Calgary, one was not. And then my husband was going on a work trip to Japan. So we didn't get to go to the Christmas party last year. I was at one tournament, he was at another tournament, and then I had to go from one tournament to the other tournament so that he could come home and fly to Tokyo. So it was very busy last year. So it was even more enjoyable this year because we got to go and just have that time to ourselves. And sometimes you need that time to reconnect and like remember that why you like each other and why you've chosen to spend the rest of your life together. Because when it's just day to day, these are the kids, this is where we have to go, this is dinner, this is like, it's just, it gets so routine and boring that you're like, sometimes you need to remember that you actually like spending time together. Yeah. And thankfully, my parents came in, swooped in and saved the day. My husband's mom was supposed to watch the boys for the weekend. My older son did have a hockey tournament this weekend, but it was in town. And so we lined up some coaches to come and take him to some games. And, but then on Friday morning, we got a text from his mom saying that she was sick, that she had the flu and she couldn't come. And we were like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And, I have a brother in town. My husband has a brother in town, but they both live at, like, there's kind of, Calgary is sort of like a square, and we're sort of in the middle, and my brother and Dave's brother both live down here, and my son's tournament was like up here. So we, like, even if we had coaches picking him up to take him to his tournament, they would have had to, like, they all live around us. So they would have had to come from here all the way down there and then drive all the way up to the tournament and then drive them all the way back down and then go back. So there was no asking them to do that. We weren't going to ask my brother or Dave's brother to drive him from way down there, up there, and like multiple times. So thankfully I texted my mom and dad, and they live out of town, like an hour and a half away. And I was like, is there any way you guys could come? My mom, like, you know, if you've been here for a while, had knee replacement surgery 2 months ago. And so she's still recovering. She's much more mobile now, which is awesome. She's recovering well. But I didn't know if she would be comfortable coming. And my dad, well, he's a farmer and he doesn't really like leaving the house. So anyway, I texted and I said, it's an emergency. We haven't been to the Christmas party in 2 years and his mom can't come. Is there any way you can come? This was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And my dad is like, he stays up late and he sleeps in late. So she had to go and like wake him up and be like, I think we're gonna go to Calgary because Melissa needs us to watch the boys. And he's like, okay. So thankfully they were able to come and they saved the day. So the coaches were able to come and pick up Tate and take him to his tournament, and it worked out really well. So I know my mom always watches. So thank you, Mom. We love you and appreciate you, and Dad. And then last night, so we missed 3 games. He had 3 games while we were gone. Last night, he was in the gold medal game for the tournament championship, and it was a tight game. The first few games were not so tight. It was a bit of a blowout, and our guys scored a lot of goals. I'm one of those hockey moms that has the cowbell. I didn't used to be. I used to hate those hockey moms that had the cowbells. I was like, oh my God, it's so obnoxious. And then last year, maybe, I can't remember, one of the boys, well, actually both of them were in a tournament, and they got like these little mini cowbells as part of their like swag bags. And so I was using those, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so I did that, and then they got lost. Oh, I was playing a ringette game, and they brought those little bells to cheer me on, and then they left them at the arena. So then I had to go buy, I was like, I can't go without a bell. So anyway, I went and bought myself a bell. It's a proper like cowbell, and I love it. And so the first game that he played, he scored 3 goals, and he's not the kid on the team that scores all the goals all the time. He scores every once in a while, but he had to text me from my mom's phone to say that he had gotten 3 goals. And so I called him and talked to him, and he was like, Mom, if you would have been there, you would have broken your bell. So anyway, they had their last game last night, and they won. It was very tight. It was like down to the last 2 minutes. They were down, and then they tied it, and then they were down, and then they tied it, and then they were up. And my son scored an amazing goal. Like, it was, the final score was 7-6 for us. He scored our 6th goal. Like, it was the go-ahead goal. It was like the end of the game. I thought he had won. He had scored the game-winning goal. Like, it was beautiful. They were on a 2-on-1, and the other kid passed it to him. He was in the exact right spot, and he buried it. And like, I was jumping and screaming and like ringing my bell. Like, I was like, I think I just peed my pants a little bit. Like, I was screaming. It was so anyway, if you don't have kids in sports, maybe all of this is just nonsense, but it's just an amazing feeling. We were talking about this on our way home from the game, my husband and I. Like, both of us play sports. I play ringette, he plays hockey. We've both scored goals, and we know what it feels like to score a goal. Like, it's an amazing feeling. But the feeling when your kid scores a goal, and like in that situation where like I thought he had the game-winning goal, like, it's an unbelievable feeling. Like, it's even better than scoring a goal yourself. Anyway, big smiles because I was so proud of him. They played so well, and they won the gold medal, and they won a candy cup. It was like a Stanley Cup, but with like chocolate bars all over it. They were very excited about that. And yeah, so that is the end of all of my life updates, and I don't think I have much else to say. So yeah, so next time hopefully I'll be back with some Advent progress, knitting my cowl, and maybe some cozy knitter sock progress. I don't know how much else I'll have to show you, but we'll see. You never know, because sometimes it's like bing, 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 I should cast on this instead of doing all the things I plan to do. So that's how I work. Anyway, comment below if you want to win my giveaway. It's a pretty good giveaway, I gotta say. And thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Comment below if you want giveaway. I think I've said that 15 times now. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.